LaVar, good morning. Thanks for hanging out. I know it's early out there for you. I want to start, though, with Brandon. Brandon, are the Patriots making the right move here, bringing Cam back to New England for another year?
Absolutely. This is a win-win for the New England Patriots and Cam Newton. Cam Newton gets an opportunity to actually prove it. You know, we had an opportunity to sit down with him on our podcast, I Am Athlete, and he talked about, look, I didn't have the offseason. I didn't have the preseason, which nobody did, but he felt like he needed it. One, he was coming off injury. And two, this is a complex situation where when you look at Josh McDaniels and how he does offense every single week, it's different. It's not just 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and then a running back. It could be 3 different wide receivers in Army and Navy, et cetera, et cetera. I was in that offense. So now Cam gets an opportunity to prove that what he said and what he's been saying is actually true. And I like this because if Cam can get back to where he needs to be and Bill Belichick does his job, man, this team could be right back in contention. But then on the other side, it's a win-win, LaVar, for the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick because he's cheap. I mean, you're paying him a little bit more than what you paid him last year. I think it was a little over $1 million, and so it's damn near, league minimum. And then two, he's willing and able to sit on the bench. Like, he knows when he's not playing well that you can go to him and say, hey, Cam, I'm going to sit you down for this quarter, or Cam, we're going to go with this guy. And he's been a good sport about it. Now, will that be the same? Will he have the same energy this year if Bill Belichick does that? I don't know, but Bill Belichick isn't scared to put Cam Newton on the bench, and then Cam Newton is willing to say, you know what, I'm not playing well, so Stidham, go ahead and take the reign.
I think it was a good decision as well. I'm surprised. I mean, especially after hearing Rodney Harrison come out and say that Cam had no more good football left in him. I almost felt as though there were too many experts maybe coming out and putting the pressure on Belichick and the Patriots for Cam, not being able to do it. I didn't see that. I saw Cam Newton that at times had struggles, but this team at times had struggles. Was it Cam's throwing the ball all the time, or was it Cam's receivers not being able to get open all the time? Was it the offensive line struggling at times with different things that were going on? Was it the play calling and the comfort of the play calling at times? So not being a Cam Newton apologist, but certainly saying that it made sense to bring him back for the simple fact that, one, he didn't. You alluded to. He didn't have a real offseason with this team. And there's a difference between having an offseason with a team that you're familiar with and an offseason that's shortened and you just came in as a free agent. You know that, Brandon. I know that. It's never easy to adjust to a different team, especially, I'm assuming, as a quarterback in the National Football League. So he bought them time. He brought a leadership to that locker room that they needed desperately because of the people they lost due to opting out and obviously losing Tom Brady. So I like the idea of bringing Cam back. He has a season under his belt of learning what this offense is about. And if his health truly is fleeing, then this is the year that you make that definitive decision. Maybe you don't even carry him the entire season if he doesn't show that he's healthy and available. But I like the move, and I think that Cam worked to earn having one more year's time to be able to do it.
So I think that last part you said, LaVar, is really interesting and I think important, which is I think Cam earned this opportunity less with his play and more with his attitude, his intangibles, the things, oddly enough, that Cam has been criticized the most for throughout his career. Because even if he had a full offseason, even if they had 3 all-pro receivers, no opt-outs, and Josh McDaniels' offense was incredibly simplistic, if all those things were true, Cam wouldn't have been good enough last year because his arm wasn't right. I've watched every game Cam's played since his 1 year at Auburn to right now. I used to bet on the Panthers almost every week just out of loyalty to Cam. You cannot convince me that Cam Newton last year was fully healthy. You just can't. Now, if your concern is Brandon, you can try. I watched those. I watched how hard it looked for him to throw. Okay, go ahead. Try. Tell me.
Okay, so Cam Newton's throwing mechanics, his motion was always flicked. All right, go back to Auburn, go back to Florida, go back to high school. Mm-hmm. There's always like this little itch and hitch to it, you know, and just this wide range. Okay, so we know that. Now let's turn on the film, the Miami Dolphins game. What did we see? We saw clear shots. We saw linebackers, nickels, just coming in and smacking Cam Newton. We saw these guys coming in, and there was nobody looking at them. There was no running back saying, "Oh, that's my guy." There was no tackle coming off, no right tackle, left tackle coming off their man, helping the guard, and then picking up the outside threat. So I say that to say this. Cam Newton was in his head last year. And as a player, when you're in your head, there's no way you can show well. There's no way you can look good. And this is the quarterback position. He wasn't able to get those guys lined up right and in the perfect protection before the snap. So pre-snap is where everything happens. Post-snap is easy. That's muscle memory. So that's the problem with Cam Newton, is that he wasn't able to.
Go ahead. You can finish. Sorry.
No, that's it. All I'm saying is this, is as a player, pre-snap, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know where you're going with the ball. And if you turn on film before Cam Newton, what do you see? Tom Brady standing in the pocket for 6-7 seconds to throw the ball. He's always been protected. They always did a phenomenal job in their scheme. Last year, they couldn't even get into their offense. Cam Newton couldn't even get into his progression because somebody was chasing him down or smacking him in the mouth. So if you fix that and the offseason gives you the ability to do that, then you're going to see a much more comfortable Cam Newton in the pocket to be able to go through his progressions and deliver the ball where it's supposed to be. So that's my way of trying to convince you. It's like if you give him time.
Well, I think that, right. But I think it actually is in Cam's benefit if he was hurt last year. Because while everything Brandon just said is true, Wilds, I know you watched every single snap of Patriot football last year. There were times where it was a 3-step drop, it was a first read, it was a 7-yard hitch, and Cam skipped it to him. There were times where it looked like his right shoulder was not right. And I think that clearly the Patriots believe he can get right, and I think the Patriots also understand that it's not exactly a surplus of great options for him. And Cam was there. They like him. He worked hard. He now better understands the offense, and hopefully he gets right. But that's my biggest concern for Cam is, I think it was T.J. Watt, did that T.J. Watt hit 2 years ago in Carolina permanently alter the trajectory of his ability to throw the football? Because he, to me, has only intermittently looked right since then.
Yeah, see, unfortunately, I agree with you. We had plays where there's plenty of protection, and Cam's bouncing it in front of guys. And I'm trying to be the most optimistic Cam guy, and I'm excited because I'm just generally optimistic. But we don't have the weapons. And then Cam went on the podcast N'Keal Harry could be good. Guys can get open. You know, if Julian Edelman, Hall of Famer, comes back, maybe we'll be all right. But LaVar, I don't think Brian Flores sees this news and is worried. I don't think Robert Saleh's worried. I don't think McDermott's worried. I think Belichick's happy, but I don't think this move strikes fear into Patriots opponents, which takes my optimism and brings it down. I wish we had if we signed Jimmy G, I think people would be a little bit nervous. I think we're we're going to see Jimmy G go to another level. Cam, all right, they got Cam again. They're going to run the ball. They threw for, didn't throw for 10 touchdowns last year. So I'm trying to be optimistic, but I don't think this move is putting fear in Patriots opponents' hearts.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily about putting fear into their opponents' hearts. I think it's about doing what's best for your team. And when you look at Cam, they're 1 yard away against the Seattle Seahawks from maybe changing the entire trajectory of their season. They go into Baltimore and they beat a Lamar Jackson-led, pretty doggone good Baltimore team at the time. I don't really look at this decision as a horrible decision because of this overwhelming narrative that continues to persist and drive about Cam not having any more toothpaste in his tube. I just don't buy that. You know, we look at him skipping passes. Other quarterbacks have skipped passes. Other quarterbacks have thrown the ball away. When you look at the judgment of how people have played the game, I look at it from a results-driven standpoint. Would this New England Patriots team have had the success that they did with Jarrett Stidham? And I think we all know the answer to that. This was supposed to be a season where you say Bill Belichick shows that the Patriot way is overruling or overwhelmingly the reason why Tom Brady and New England had success. We did not see that. You know what we saw? We saw a player in Cam Newton who's much maligned for what he can't do to throw the ball at times, actually put a team on his back and carry him to the amount of win totals that they were able to get during the course of this season. And I think that goes unnoticed. Cam Newton bought this New England Patriots team time. You bought them time. It's like, what? You bought them time? Yes, you bought them time, because the record that they would have had versus the record that they did have with Cam Newton calls for them giving Cam another opportunity to at least show that he can either start or be a backup on this team. I think we unjustly and we unfairly judge Cam Newton way too often. And I think we look at Cam as being this perfect specimen of a person, which physically speaking, he is. So when we look at him, the things and the expectations that we place on Cam Newton are sometimes unfair, based upon everything is fair, obviously, but in theory and in reality, unfair, because we're judging Cam on a different level than what we are on anybody else.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.